Hello and welcome to the Iceland with Sophie YouTube account. I am Sophie, and maybe you know me from my Instagram account Iceland with Sophie, where I take people with me in my everyday life in Iceland. I'm living on a horse farm in Iceland, and we are providing horse riding tours for beginners to experienced riders. And I think the riding in Iceland is also known for riding with a herd, and that's exactly what we do. So right now I am not in Iceland. I am visiting my family. That is probably fact number 2 about me. I am originally Austrian, and today in this video I want to tell you how and why I ended up in Iceland. So everything starts with me being horse addicted since I am super small. I started riding when I was 6 years old on Icelandic horses here in Austria. I instantly fell in love with them, especially with the Icelandic horses. But it's not the only breed I ever rode. I was that small. I got to know that there is the possibility to ride in Iceland with a free running herd, and from that moment on this was my life goal. And what I didn't know by then is that I'm going to fulfill my wish, and not only fulfill my wish, I'm going to live my dream life. So I kept on my riding career. I rode once a week, just like children do, you know, and I rode Icelandic horses until I was about 13 years old, I would say. Then I changed the stable and I started to ride warm blood horses, and when I moved for my studies to the next city here in Austria, to Graz, I started to ride Lusitanian horses, and I also bought the Lusitanian horse. And I am quite sure that if I would not have moved to Iceland, I would have stayed with the Lusitanian horses. This riding wise taught me so much that helped me also in Iceland when training Icelandic horses. Yeah, so how did I end up? When I got older, I still had the dream of riding with a free running herd in Iceland. And when I was 16, I got money from my grandparents to travel the world. And it was enough money for me to buy myself a trip to Iceland. And when I was 18 years old, I did so. So I first set foot on Iceland 2016. No, 2015 even. 2015 I rode as a guest myself the Kjöller route, which is a very historical and famous route. You're crossing Iceland. I crossed it from north to south, and it used to be an old trade route. So if people sold their sheep or something from north to south, they had to cross Iceland then. And yeah, I fell in love. It was the best trip of my life. It was the best what I ever did. And I started to dream about staying one whole summer in Iceland, and the only opportunity for me to do so, you know, I was still a student, I had not a lot of money. I decided I have to work on a farm with Icelandic horses, and I wrote to the company that has provided this trip, and I wrote that I would like to be in Iceland for a whole summer and just, you know, write your farmers, and if you would like to hire me, I am here. And I got 2 offers. I got one offer in the south of Iceland at Kálfhóll. So the ones who know me for longer know Kálfhóll is my home now. And I got an offer in north with Halldór. The people who have been riding with Íslandshestar, with our company, they might also know Halldór. Halldór is one of the 3 farmers that own Íslandshestar. We are one, Halldór is one, and then we have Haukur. My plan was to go 1 year to the south, and the next summer, maybe, if I then still want to, up north, just ask Halldór again. But that never happened. So I went 2016 for 7 weeks to Kalfall and rode with them the Golden Circle 6 times and 1 time Landmannalaugar, which is the Highland tour. If people ask me what is my favorite trip, I have to say Landmannalaugar. It is my favorite trip. It's also my by far favorite area in Iceland. I would even say favorite area in the world. But you know, Iceland is so... there are so many different landscapes and there are so many different trips, and I love every single one of it, and it is quite hard to say like one is my absolute favorite trip. The reason why I would say Landmannalaugar is my favorite trip is also because I lived so many adventures up there. I have been to Landmannalaugar, I don't know, between 20 and 30 times on horseback. This area will forever be in my heart. In 2017 I came again, but not to Halldór. I went again to Kalfall. I just knew all the routes, I knew the people, I knew the horses, and I just had the feeling it is the best to keep on where I started. The next year I got bigger tasks to do. I was riding more with the herd, which was totally my favorite part to do. But it changed a little bit for me because I started to guide. I tried to combine work with people and work with horses. And I remember when I first time led the herd, even though it was only for one leg, Hannes' brother was letting me being in front of the herd. Maybe it was not such a big thing for him because he was still somewhere, you know, in between. He could have saved it if I would have done something wrong. But for me it was this super big step. I was like 23 years old or something. I will never forget that moment. In the following years I started to get more and more responsibility. First more about the herd, and then in the end also about our guests. So somebody might think, okay, now she's together with Hannes. Hannes is, at the times I started, the father of Hannes was doing the tours. But when I started at Kalfall, I didn't look at Hannes. It was the first 3 summers I only saw the horses and the landscape and saw the freedom, and I was totally in my world. In 4th summer I saw Hannes, and it happened. I fell in love with Hannes and took that as a sign for me to move to Iceland. It was also the time when my bachelor's, I am a teacher actually, was about to end. So I had this 1 year to prepare myself, but Corona came. Everything was like this big question mark. But I am stubborn enough. I went in COVID times and I quarantined 2 weeks in our summer house. Then I started my life in Iceland. I did a master's degree at the University of Iceland. Otherwise, I am now in this horse tour business for tourists. I like to connect with our guests. I think this is also one part of traveling in Iceland and traveling in horse tours. I think you get way closer to people and culture. The riding with the herd and the traveling with the horse is a very old tradition in Iceland. It just connects people. You get to know the farmers, you get to know the staff and all the people who love horses and who, you know, live for what they're doing. It's a lot of work, but it is the best what I can imagine. Beside that, I got my Instagram account, and I never thought that I would be big at some point, but it happened to me. Now I see it as a chance of taking people with me, my everyday life. It is a great opportunity to teach people things about Iceland. That's me. That's Iceland with Sophie.